What if we've been looking at crime completely wrong? Today, we're going to dive into a book that flips the script. It suggests that crime isn't just an act, but maybe it's the final, desperate chapter of a story that started a long, long time ago. A story that begins with a child's unheard pain. And this quote, "This is the heart of the whole thing." It's the central idea in the book Dangerous Minds. It really forces us to ask a tough question. When a child's pain gets ignored, where does it go? I mean, it doesn't just vanish, right? It has to find a way out. So, what language does it learn to speak instead? The book kicks off with this incredibly powerful image. I want you to picture this. You're gliding in a metro cable high above the city of Medellin. Looking down, you see all these houses just pressed together, almost like they're breathing. And the author asks us to think about how every single one of those houses, well, it shelters a story. And that's the key right there. This book isn't about stats or news headlines. It's about looking inside those homes. It's about the laughter, the embraces, and maybe most importantly, the silences. The ones that no one ever really hears. It's about the stories that get lost in that quiet. Okay, so to make this idea feel real, the book does something brilliant. It zooms in, way in, from that huge city-state right down to the story of one single child. And this is where that big abstract idea of unheard stories becomes just devastatingly real. So this is Mateo. He's 12, and he's carrying a weight that honestly no kid should ever have to. He's the main provider for his 5 younger brothers and sisters. His mom, she's often gone, just trying to survive herself. And his dad, well, he's a ghost, lost to addiction. Mateo's life isn't about being a kid. It's about this massive responsibility he never, ever asked for. A candy for a coin, senora. That's what Mateo says, hundreds of times a day, out on the streets. He says it so much the words don't even mean anything anymore. It just perfectly captures this huge gap between the child he is and the adult work he has to do to keep his family from starving. And here's the absolute tragedy of it all. To everyone else, to the world, Mateo is a good kid. He's quiet, he doesn't cause trouble, but his silence isn't peaceful. It's a box, a container holding a universe of pain that nobody ever thinks to ask him about. His silence is a direct symptom of a world that just isn't listening. And the book points out that this neglect isn't just happening at home. The school, which should be a safe place, right? It often just repeats the very same pattern. It becomes a place for routine, not for connection. A place where Mateo's exhaustion is just seen as laziness, and his quiet is mistaken for a lack of interest. It just proves to him all over again what he already learned at home. His voice doesn't matter. So, if a kid's pain is being silenced at home, and then it's silenced again at school, where on earth does it go? This is where the book makes its most provocative argument, saying that crime itself, is actually a form of communication. I mean, just let that sink in for a second. Violence, not to harm, but to speak. The book argues that so many criminal acts aren't born out of some inherent evil. No, they're a desperate, twisted attempt to finally communicate a pain that was never, ever given words. It's the only language they could learn when no one else was teaching them another. But let's be really, really clear about something. This is not about making excuses for anyone, not at all. Understanding the root cause of something doesn't mean you're absolving the responsibility for it. It's about trying to find the point in the timeline where the cycle could actually be broken. It's about restoring a person's humanity by first understanding how it got stripped away. So you have to be wondering, who is the person making this kind of powerful, challenging argument? Well, the author's own background is totally key to why this book is so credible and has so much depth. The author's name is Dr. Siegfried Castell, Britton, and he brings this perspective that is just so uniquely grounded. See, this isn't just some theory cooked up in an ivory tower. This is wisdom that was earned on the front lines, in the very communities he's writing about. And look at his expertise. It's this incredible mix of the academic and the deeply human. He's got a Ph.D. in criminal justice, a master's in forensic psychology, and a master's in educational psychology. But then you look beyond the degrees. He's done restorative justice work on the ground in Colombia. He's worked with incarcerated people in the Cayman Islands. He's interviewed inmates in prisons all across the US. It's that combination of science and soul that makes what he has to say so incredibly profound. Honestly, everything we've talked about so far, it's really just the prologue. It's a single thread from this rich, complex tapestry. So the question becomes, where do you go from here? We've barely even scratched the surface. Trying to understand that journey from a silent child to what society labels a dangerous mind, it's not simple. It's not a soundbite. It takes a real commitment to actually listening. And that's our invitation to you. We're actually launching a brand new series where we're going to explore this book chapter by chapter, really unpacking all of its powerful insights. So if anything today sparked your curiosity, we'd love for you to join us for that full journey. Of course, the most direct way to get this is to go straight to the source. The book itself, Dangerous Minds, Psychology of Pain, Crime, and Reparation, is out now on Amazon for anybody who wants to experience this work firsthand. So we'll leave you with the same question that the book leaves its readers with. It's a question that really echoes long after you've turned that final page. And it's a question that isn't just about crime. It's about the world we all help create and the silences we all contribute to. How much pain has to go unheard before it finally becomes violence?